Why is it that when the United States kills civilians, it's called collateral damage, but when any other group or nation does it, it's labeled terrorism? Why does the world accept civilian deaths at the hands of the most powerful military on Earth as some kind of unfortunate necessity, rather than the brutal reality it is? Since 2001, the US has been involved in multiple wars and military operations across the globe: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia. And across these battlefields, one thing has remained consistent: civilian bloodshed, followed by silence, cover-ups, or outright denial. Let's be clear, these aren't small numbers. According to the Costs of War project by Brown University, more than 387,000 civilians have died directly from violence in the post-9/11 wars. And that's a conservative estimate. It doesn't include those who died from the destruction of infrastructure, disease, starvation, or displacement. When you add those up, the death toll rises into the millions. In Iraq alone, the 2003 US-led invasion, justified by false claims of weapons of mass destruction, led to a catastrophic collapse of civil society. The Lancet Medical Journal estimated over 600,000 excess deaths by 2006. Many of them were civilians, killed by airstrikes, gunfire, or chaos directly triggered by the invasion. In Afghanistan, a New York Times investigation in 2019 exposed the Pentagon's systemic underreporting of civilian casualties. Thousands of drone strikes were launched under secret programs. Innocent families were hit in their homes, in weddings, in funerals. The official numbers? Often just single digits, even when local reports confirmed dozens of deaths. The truth was buried under bureaucratic language like suspected militants and enemy targets. Sometimes no names were ever released, no apologies given. In Somalia and Yemen, the US has relied heavily on drone warfare, a tactic sold as precise and surgical. But leaked Pentagon documents later revealed the horrifying truth. In some drone campaigns, 90% of the people killed were not the intended targets. The US government has not only failed to take responsibility, it has actively blocked international accountability. It has refused to join the International Criminal Court. It has lobbied to shield its soldiers and allies from investigation. And when the ICC dared to probe US war crimes in Afghanistan, Washington responded by imposing sanctions on the court's officials. Meanwhile, US media, often embedded with the military or reliant on official briefings, rarely challenge these narratives. Civilian casualties are barely mentioned. There's no sustained coverage of the victims, no viral outrage. Just brief reports buried in newspapers or vague language like mistaken strike and tragic accident. Take the case of the Haditha massacre in 2005. US Marines killed 24 Iraqi civilians, including women and children, in cold blood. At first, the military called it a firefight. It took whistleblowers and journalists to expose the truth. But what happened next? Most charges were dropped. Only one Marine was convicted, and he served no jail time. And then there's the 2021 drone strike in Kabul, Afghanistan. The Pentagon claimed it stopped a terrorist. What actually happened? 10 civilians were killed, including 7 children. The US admitted the mistake weeks later, but no one was held accountable. No disciplinary action, no justice.
I am now convinced that as many as 10 civilians, including up to 7 children, were tragically killed in that strike.
So why is this allowed to happen again and again? Because the US is untouchable. It has veto power at the UN. It controls massive global influence through media, economics, and military alliances. And because of this power, it gets to rewrite the rules. It gets to frame its wars as liberation, its bombs as necessary, and its civilian deaths as regrettable but justified. Meanwhile, other countries or groups who kill civilians, even in retaliation, are condemned as barbaric. Their names are dragged through global headlines. Their leaders face trials and sanctions. But for America? Silence, or worse, justification. This is the reality of global power. It's not about right or wrong. It's about who has the guns, the media, and the narrative. And here's the most disturbing part. These kinds of videos take hours of research, writing, and editing to bring the truth to light. So, if you value this kind of work, a subscription would mean a lot. And here's the most disturbing part. This isn't a thing of the past. Right now, the US continues to fund and arm foreign powers, like the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen or the Israeli military, despite clear evidence of mass civilian suffering. Billions of dollars in weapons, bombs dropped on homes, hospitals, schools. The US claims it wants peace, but it profits from war. What message does this send to the world? That if you're powerful enough, your civilian casualties don't count. That if your military is advanced enough, you can kill anonymously and avoid the consequences. This is not about being anti-American. This is about being pro-truth, being pro-humanity, being honest about the cost of unchecked power. Because when hundreds of thousands of civilians die, and the world shrugs its shoulders, something is deeply, horribly wrong. Power should never be a shield for murder. It should come with greater responsibility, not less. So, we have to ask, when will the world stop pretending that American bombs are cleaner? That their deaths are somehow more justified? When will we call it what it is? War crimes, impunity, state terror. And when will the victims, the nameless men, women, and children buried under rubble, finally be seen, heard, and mourned? It's not okay when the US kills civilians. It never was. It never will be.